Cascading Style Sheets, or CSS, is a language used to style web pages. It's what makes websites look visually appealing. Without CSS, websites would just be plain text and images. CSS allows web developers to control the colors, fonts, layout, and overall presentation of their web pages. Imagine you're building a house. HTML is like the structure, the walls, and the roof. It provides the basic framework. CSS, on the other hand, is like the paint, the furniture, and the decorations. It adds style and personality to the house, making it a home. CSS is a fundamental technology for web development. It works hand in hand with HTML to create engaging and user-friendly web experiences. With CSS, you can transform a dull and lifeless website into something visually stunning and easy to navigate. In the next section, we'll delve deeper into the capabilities of CSS and how it empowers web developers to create stunning websites. CSS gives you complete control over the look and feel of your website. You can change colors, fonts, and sizes of elements. This lets you create a unique style for your website. CSS also helps with layout. You can position elements on the page where you want them. You can create columns, grids, and other complex layouts. This ensures that your website is easy to read and navigate. Moreover, CSS allows for responsive design. This means your website will look good on any device. Whether someone is using a desktop, tablet, or phone, your website will adapt. There are 3 ways to add CSS to your HTML: inline, internal, and external. Inline CSS is written directly inside an HTML tag. This method is useful for small specific changes. However, it can be difficult to maintain if you have a lot of CSS. Internal CSS is written in the section of your HTML file. This keeps all your styles in one place. It's suitable for small to medium-sized websites. External CSS is written in a separate file with the CSS extension. You then link this file to your HTML. This is the best approach for larger websites. It keeps your code organized and easier to manage. CSS syntax is straightforward. A CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block. The selector points to the HTML element you want to style. For example, H1 selects all tags. The declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolons. Each declaration consists of a property and a value. The property is what you want to style, like color or font size. The value is the setting for that property. Here are some common selector types. Element selectors. Select elements based on their tag name, for example. Class selectors. Select elements with a specific class attribute, for example. ID selectors. Select a single, unique element with a specific ID attribute, for example. You can combine selectors to be more specific. Descendant combinator, space. Selects elements that are descendants of another element, for example, selects all list items within unordered lists. Child combinator. Selects direct children of an element, for example, selects only the unordered list that is a direct child of the element. Pseudo-classes select elements based on their state or position. Section 5. Styling with CSS, the basics. Let's explore some fundamental styling techniques using CSS. Colors. You can set colors using color names like red or blue. Hexadecimal values, such as #F0000 or #0000F, or RGB values, for example, RGB 25500. For instance, if you want to set the text color of all H1 elements to blue, you would write H1, color blue. Fonts. You can control the font family, size, weight, and style of your text. For example, to set the default font for the entire page to Arial, and the font size to 16 pixels, you would write body, font family, Arial, sans serif, font size, 16 pixels. Text properties. You can adjust text alignment, spacing, decoration, and more. To justify the text in all paragraph elements and increase line spacing for better readability, you would write P at text align, justify, line height, 1.5, backgrounds. You can set background colors, images, and other properties. For example, to set a light gray background for elements with the class header, you would write header, background color, #F0F0F0. Section 6. Understanding the box model. In CSS, every element is treated as a box. This box model consists of the content area, padding, border, and margin. Content. The actual content of the element, such as text or images. Padding. The space between the content and the border. Border, the line surrounding the padding and content. Margin. The space outside the border, separating the element from other elements. Understanding the box model is crucial for controlling the spacing and layout of your web page. By adjusting the padding, border and margin, you can create visual separation between elements and achieve the desired layout. Section 7. Practical exercise: styling a blog post. Let's put your CSS knowledge into practice by styling a simple blog post. You'll need a text editor and a web browser to complete this exercise. First, create an HTML file. Create a new file named blog-post.html and add the following basic HTML code. My blog post, my first blog post. This is the content of my first blog post. I'm excited to share my thoughts and ideas with the world. Next, create a CSS file. Create a new file named style.css. Then link the CSS file to your HTML. In the section of your blog-post.html file, add the following line to link your CSS file. Now let's style the blog post. Open your style.css file and add the following CSS rules. Body, font family sans serif, margin 20 pixels, H1, color blue, text align center, P, line height 1.5. Finally, save your files and view in the browser. Save both your HTML and CSS files. Open blog-post.html in your web browser to see the styled blog post. This is a simple example to get you started. Experiment with different CSS properties and values to see how you can further enhance the appearance of your blog post. Section 8. Conclusion. CSS is an essential tool for web developers. It gives you the power to transform simple HTML into visually appealing and engaging websites. This essay covered the basics of CSS. You learned about its importance, different types, syntax, selectors, basic styling techniques, and the box model. With the knowledge you've gained, you can now start experimenting with CSS and bring your web designs to life. Remember, practice makes perfect. Section 9. Further learning. This is just the beginning of your CSS journey. There is much more to learn and explore. Here are some resources to continue your learning. Mozilla Developer Network, MDN. A comprehensive resource for web development, including in-depth CSS documentation and tutorials. CSS Tricks, a website dedicated to all things CSS with articles, tips, and demos. W3 Schools, another excellent online resource for learning web development, including CSS tutorials and quizzes.